if recovery is a lifestyle, we're going to need constant reminders throughout our life because, look, you've been clean and sober long enough, right? I could tempt you with a bottle of pills. I can wave a bottle in front of your face of booze, and it's not going to phase you. But what might happen, though, what the thing that we may fall victim to is a series of unfortunate events, little things, little subliminal things that add on and compound and compound. And then next thing you know, you're just like, boom, it can happen just like that. Are you prepared?
I'm Flindt Andersen, founder of PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need. I've been in recovery since 2001, and there isn't much I don't know about recovery. And my mission is to constantly tell the truth about addiction, to make the realities of addiction, recovery, and drug culture known, and to drive awareness and advocate change that ultimately saves lives.
And I'm Jason LaChance, a certified recovery coach with a passion for speaking with others and sharing their knowledge to help others seek recovery and maintain long-term sobriety. And this is the Don't Hide the Scars podcast, presented by PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need. And our guest on this episode, Dino Miliotis, is a celebrated entrepreneur known for his innovative spirit, impactful message of hope. I mean, goodness, he gained prominence with creating Bug Band back in 1996 in Chicago. It's been featured in Forbes, was on Oprah, Entrepreneur, People magazine. But Dino is now sharing his 20-year battle with alcohol and substance use, which you can find out more about his story, Road to Recovery, in his book, There Is No Box, advocating for recovery and supporting others facing similar challenges. And I mean, an exciting program and stuff that you're working now, the spokesman for OpiAID, which we're going to get into. It's a data science backed company leveraging AI to tackle the opioid epidemic. I mean, it's revolutionary, it's exciting, and right up our alley. So Dino, thank you for joining founder of PAIN, Flindt Andersen, myself, Jason LaChance on Don't Hide the Scars.
Hey, thank you for having me. Pleasure's all mine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Well, I think we should just jump right in here to the deep end of this addiction. I mean, these 20-year things that I think I was telling you yesterday, we were having a conversation that, we really try to help the loved ones of the suffering addict or the new to recovery really understand addiction, which unless you're an addict, you're just not fully going to get.
That's right. That's right. I mean, that's the hardest thing for people to get, me going through, what I went through, you almost have resentment that people don't understand, yet you don't let them in to understand, and they'll give you advice. Here's some advice. Well, just slow down. Well, just positive thinking, just snap out of it. All these things are said not to hurt you. They're said out of love, but you gotta, stop for a second and just put yourself in their shoes and understand they have no clue about addiction. They have no clue what we're going through, and they're just trying to do the best they can to understand us.
Right. Well, and I think too, look, I'm a huge Al-Anon fan. You know this. I always have been. But when I started these, it was these meetings, our support meetings. God, here you go. It's like, come on, let's get into the nuts and bolts of this thing here. We can all sit around and tell a story, right? But I wanted parents to not only have the truth about it, but I wanted to be able to offer suggestions, and we crosstalk and we throw shit up against the wall and see if it sticks, right? Because there is no cure for this. There is, but there's so many people out there that do know it, that if we don't help those families in understanding their addict and what they're going through, how it affects the brain, how it affects their life, and explaining actual addiction to them, most of the parents can get through this reasonably well.
Right. That's true. You touched on so many great points. And as you were speaking, I mean, we'll say our mutual friend, Mike Diamond, right? Interventionist. Actually, his segment airs next week on intervention on A&E, so we'll be watching. But My point is that I watched Intervention. Full disclosure, it's been on for 25 years, but I just started watching it. The show is brilliantly done. Okay. I mean, first of all, it's not scripted, but it's brilliantly done because what I like is that it covers the addict side and their delusions and their insanity, full blown insanity for everybody to see. And it's very raw and it's sometimes hard to watch, but that's
Right.
addiction, folks.
Right.
But then at the same time, it focuses on the friends, the family, the loved ones. And, I hate saying it like this, but a lot of times, um, there's either tough love where they're just like, you know what, I disown you until you get your stuff straightened out. I don't even want to know you. I don't care if you live or die. Then there's the other ones, because of course addicts are master manipulators and they'll buy into the drama of the addict. Okay. So it's almost like they're coddling him. And then the show focuses on the health professional, usually a doctor, and also the interventionist. So you get different sides of addiction. And I think that's what you're touching on, right?
Yep. Yeah. You have to have those, different sides. Mike and I we were talking about it on our show. And the one thing Mike and I agree on wholeheartedly is the fact that, look, when I do interventions, the last thing I need is a parent sitting around writing a letter to their loved one, saying how much they love them. All right. Okay. I mean, everybody knows your family loves you. I mean, come on, let's not waste time here. My goal is to get in and out of there as quickly as possible, because you're not going to be able to explain everything to the family member during that intervention. Just not.
No. No.
So let's get them out of there. Let's get them into treatment as quickly as possible. Then let me have the parents. Okay. After that. But Dino, what is sad in this and is this: a lot of parents, look, we've seen 10,000 families through these doors since 2009.
Wow.
The parents that have listened, and I'm not trying to blow our own horn here, but the parents that have listened have gotten through this okay. All right. But here's where parents fail miserably. They're all in the beginning. They're all in. They sit in my office and it's like, you bet we're going to be there and we're going to come and we're going to participate. We're going to do all this. And the majority of them don't. And then they ask themselves later, well, why did everything go south? The family has to commit as much to their recovery during this as the addict has to commit to theirs. It's pretty simple stuff.
Bingo. It takes a village. It takes a village. I mean, yes,
it does.
And here's the thing that you touched on too, right? We have such a selfish disease. I mean, when I wanted to drink and get high, I wanted it now. When I wanted to quit, I think a lot of times people thought I was joking, but when I wanted to quit, I wanted to quit now. Yeah. I could talk myself out of it an hour later or a day later. But when I say I'm ready, I'm ready.
Right.
So I don't need the letters written or the essay, penmanship counts or whatever. I mean, just get me in,
right.
And that's where we lose. That's one segment where we lose a lot of people, believe it or not.
It is. Yeah, well, and again, it is simply like we say here, there's two sides to treatment. There's a side where people have PPO insurance and the cash to pay for private treatment. Then there's a side that have Medi-Cal, Medicaid, governmental aid insurance. And when an addict is ready to get clean, God, you're so right on this. The last thing I want to do is listen to a 17-minute recording, okay, on 25 prompts on what button to push. And here's who I'm going to talk to. Oh, by the way, we're not going to get back to you until the following day.
Right.
I've already hung up the phone. I'm down the road. Okay. I want to get clean. I want it now. And that's what the majority of people in this country do not understand.
Yeah, that's right. And it was, actually, it's a true story, frustrating for me because I made the decision to quit, and I was ready to go into a treatment center up Lake Arrowhead, California. And they couldn't take me for a couple of weeks. And they also said, well, so describe what you're doing. Are you using whatever? And I said, well, as of yesterday, I stopped. and I'm really, really hurting and I really need to get in. And they're like, well, I won't mention the name of the treatment center, but they said, well, if you're not intoxicated or you don't have drugs in your system right now, we're not going to take you. And I'm like, okay, that's an easy fix. So I grabbed a bottle of vodka, guzzle.
Right.
I mean, I could have killed myself right there. But
Right.
here's the things that we do when I'm like crying for help and they're just like, okay, we'll get back to you, or you're not drunk enough. That was just ridiculous for me to hear.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, but you're right. Again, because people don't understand. How do laws get changed? How does the medical industry change? How does anything change until you understand the addict's brain and what we're going through? That's why nothing is changing.
That's right. That's right. And a lot of people, I mean, you'll notice the narrative, the talk of the time. I mean, opioids was your thing for what, 25 years?
Right.
So you get this, but that's the talking point for, I mean, it doesn't even matter what side of the aisle you're on. Fentanyl, 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 opioid, epidemic, epidemic, epidemic. Okay, that's great. And I'm not trying to knock the industry, but at the same time, we're very, very quick to say that there's an epidemic, to
Sure.
say that one person dies every 4 minutes. But what is the viable solutions that we're presenting? I mean, where's this money going? You know, and what are we doing with it? It takes a village, okay, for a lot of things, and this is no different. It does take a village. I mean, our disease is so complex. It's hard enough for people to stay clean and sober. I mean, 97% of us relapse. You know
Right.
that. That's
Right.
hard enough alone. But without a community, without the support of your friends and family, and don't forget, there's 3 to 5 friends or family for every addict.
Yeah.
So don't think it's just hurting me in a selfish way. I'm destroying the lives around me too. Maybe not the physically dying, but they are shattered or scarred forever, just like, we are. And I think that's the popularity of now all these sober communities that have come out on social platforms. They're kind of replacing that village that we really needed in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's a tough one.
Fully agreed. Yeah, fully agreed. And I think that's one of those hardships too, jumping back to where Flindt was talking about the families that were slightly on board, is I think it's, and my father, I grew up in a home of addiction, but nothing changed about the home. And that was a detriment. That was a detriment because I've often thought about that, like, did I end up going down this road subconsciously to understand my father a little more? Because I get him 100% now. Like, we totally speak the same language. Granted, he's about as long in recovery as Flindt has been, and if that family dynamic doesn't get that there is that recovery process for you too, and there are those resources, and the structure has to change, and they have to get on board. Overall, which I think is some of the hardship. Like, hey, look, this is a total shift. I think it's, Flindt does a beautiful job of like illustrating, look, if you embrace this, it's not only going to help the individual you love, but your family dynamics going to change and thrive.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, some silly examples, that I use from time to time is like, if I told people, including my family, that I'm severely allergic to pollen, nobody in my family or my immediate circle would say, yeah, I know you're allergic, but here's some great pollen. Go ahead and sniff this. I swear to God, it's good. You know, they respect my ailment and they back off. If I was training for a marathon and I said I can't eat meat and I have a very strict diet, I mean, the household would be preparing meals for me and understand, well, he's running a marathon, so we
Right.
gotta, right? But this is the only time, I think, the only time that I could think of anyway, where we don't really get that same, I'll call it respect.
We don't.
Let's and that's I think partly because they're not you want to learn more, you want to get educated. But like I said, I mean, watch those episodes I mentioned, watch a few episodes of intervention. They're hard to watch, even for me.
They
I
are.
mean, you see these kids, I mean, and kids that are just so delusional. They're hallucinating. I mean, they reminded me of me. I mean, I would get
Right.
sound business advice from my cat.
Right.
Okay. Seriously, I would talk to my cats and they would talk back and give me advice. I get it, but the regular person outside just kind of looking in, that's just kind of peeking, almost like an accident that you got to slow down and watch. They're not going to stay for the whole show. You see, they're not really going to get it. And I was in an AA meeting yesterday. I went with a friend. I'm supporting her. She's going to be 30 days sober. So, hooray. There was 150 people in this meeting. It was not a small little meeting. And of those 150 people, I didn't see one loved one. I didn't see a friend. I didn't see a family member. And I'm thinking to myself, that's kind of a shame, right? Because they all come home to somebody, or most of them do anyway.
Right. Right. No, Dino, you're 100% right in that.
New Perceptions North, the premier drug and alcohol treatment and recovery center in Central California. A full continuum of medically supervised top quality care with programs for detox and patient residential treatment with dual diagnosis, intensive outpatient treatment, sober living support groups, and more. New Perceptions North provides adult men and women with the highest caliber of professional health care, treating each client with compassion and respect, in a safe, comfortable environment to begin the process of recovery to proudly create and sustain a life without addiction. Call 559-978-1507 or visit newperceptionsnorth.com.
It's just as simple as with these parents around the holidays when I would say, listen, I don't care that grandpa wants his cocktail, okay, while he's watching the football game. I don't care that your family tradition is that you serve wine with dinner at Easter, all right? When you're dealing with somebody new in recovery, right, you get the alcohol out of the house. I don't care that they're an opiate addict and alcohol wasn't their problem, right? You take, again, that's just one small thing in a whole list of things that families need to do, especially in those first 2 or 3 years of one's recovery. It doesn't have to last a lifetime. I can now go to any relative's house and they drink, right? By the way, I'm not telling them to stop drinking. I don't have a problem with it. I'm comfortable now with it. It doesn't faze me in the least. I can walk into a bar. I mean, all those things. But in early recovery, it's like still everybody else is selfish. Okay, now, did we cause this little to do? Yeah, we did. Okay, let's say we did. Well, guess what, mom or dad? What if you were going through something, okay, and we had to change our behavior and we had to change our little things that we have to do when we have, I mean, it's the same thing. Yeah. Okay, you're either all in as a family or you're all out, because if you're not in, you're gonna pay for it somewhere down the line.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You know that I now work with several treatment centers, and there's one treatment center in Canada that is like the top gold star. I mean, everything you're saying, everything you're about is exactly what they're about. They demand that the parents get involved. They demand that the parents have this list and they follow it religiously. I mean, everything that you believe in. And do you know what they told me? They said that they used to have a lot of people come to this treatment center because it's the best and the results were the best. But the problem is that they don't get enough people because the parents believe it's too rough.
Absolutely.
Is that crazy? And I'm thinking, it's too rough for who? Is it too rough for the person getting treatment, or is it too rough for the parent who can't follow the laundry list, right?
The one thing I tell parents, I own a treatment facility as well. And one of the things I tell the parent is, as I say, and we're strict on this at our treatment center. First of all, there are no phone calls for 10 days to 2 weeks. None. Okay. Short of a family member dying. Okay. Dude, you ain't receiving a phone call from your family. But the reality is this, they, excuse me, these parents are sabotaging their kids in ways that the parent doesn't even understand. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Now, and I don't know why I keep thinking about this. I haven't thought about this in a long time. Substances are different, okay? Even though they affect our brains the same way, blah, blah, blah. But when we're dealing with meth addicts in particular, this is a different animal, okay? It's a different animal. First of all, most insurances do not pay for meth detoxes. I don't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah.
They don't, right? Okay. Now, why? I don't know, right? Okay. So, and this is where treatment centers kind of get a bad rap. We had, for example, this one young man, he came in like 3 or 4 times. All right. A lot of times we can't even keep them still enough, long enough to even get them the right medications in them. Right. And then they get the meth addict goes into this psychosis. They're running out of the door. They're hard to control. We can't tie somebody to a bed. We can't chain them down, right? And then they decide to come back a week later, and then they stay for maybe 4 or 5 days. Then they're out the door again, and then maybe they did stay for 30 days this time. On and on and on. And I have to say this when it comes to the parents, this is such a complex substance, and it's so complex with the brain and what is going on that a lot of times the parents just say, screw it. We're not going to do anything here. We can't.
Yeah. No, I mean, when we started, you said, oh, I was addicted to opioids for what, 20 years, 25 years, you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And then you said, and then I quit, and then my life was easy. I know you were joking,
right?
But you definitely were joking. But
yes.
but that's when it starts. Look, recovery is hard. It's
Very
hard
hard
work. But a marriage is hard work. A relationship is hard work. Training, a marathon is hard. I mean, all of these things are hard. You got to put it in perspective. But I will share something with you, if you don't mind, because I was at the opioid summit, the governor's summit in South Carolina recently. Okay. And there was a brilliant man, scientist, and he was involved and behind, as an example, when AIDS was considered still the gay disease, when Hep C was becoming an epidemic. He was behind all that. And then for the last, I think, 10 years, what he's done is he's studying trends in drug addiction, substance use. Okay.
Right.
Very interesting stuff. I thought it'd be boring, trust me, but it's not. Okay. but so what he gets is he gets a set of data from the government on all these subjects. Then he gets data from the sheriff's office and places incarceration. Okay. But then he gets a third set of data from participating and willing addicts themselves. And he's built up over time a relationship with these people, okay, who are using. And he basically asks them, hey, what are you using? Did you get this on the street? Get me a sample. And this dude analyzes it. Okay. So now he's got 3 sets of data, completely independent, and he triangulates the data and he forms his conclusion, his chart. And it's amazing because when he unraveled it, he said, on a global scale, illegal drugs are like minuscule, so consider them non-existent. Mm-hmm. Almost 100% of the drugs today are synthetic, i.e. man-made. Okay. Right. 99% of all of those drugs are laced with fentanyl.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you got people who are talking to him on what's going on, right? So fentanyl, obviously every 10 minutes, you got to shoot up, you got to use a needle, and it affects, people don't realize this, but all your veins are shot. If you're shooting up every 10 minutes, I mean, you don't have a vein left. So they start getting creative. So here's the creativity of an addict. To prolong the high so they don't have to shoot up as much, they started using things like xylazine, which is a horse tranquilizer, and all this other crazy stuff. And they're lacing it in stimulants so that they can maintain that high longer. And you know who's watching? The people who are watching this trend as well is the cartel, because they know exactly what we're doing, where the trend is going, and they lace the things that we're trending towards to kill us. I don't know a better way to say it, but I mean, this is intentional stuff here. Okay.
Dino, this is China. This you're now in our ballpark. Okay. That's where you're at. Look, we were talking about carfentanil and fentanyl 8 years ago when the Russians were sending it into the Eastern Seaboard. All right. Now, and of course, everything kind of started then on the Eastern Seaboard and worked its way west. But now with China, look, this is China's baby. The cartels are the tag along onto China's back, because the opioid crisis of the late 1700s and 1800s in China were caused by the Brits. And China hasn't forgotten that. They're the ones that are sending the precursors into Mexico. Mexico's the cartels are the ones that are putting the fentanyl into pills and shipping it across the border. By the way, every cartel now is in every 50 states in the United States. We have a very good working relationship with the DEA, and they don't ever have to fire a shot. Okay. They don't have to fire a gun. They don't have to drop a bomb. They're already doing it. All right.
Right.
So your point is exactly spot on, because in treatment, it's different for us now. Fentanyl, like Dilaudid, is a very short acting drug. You have to dose yourself more frequently with it. So xylazine, those kinds of drugs, the animal tranquilizer, that's a part of the benzo family. Yeah. Right? Because that's what benzos do. Benzos are long lasting. Well, Ativan is not, but Valium and Xanax, Klonopin, drugs like those are long lasting. But in treatment now, it's another cause for us, because now we have to detox two different drugs. Detoxing an opiate and detoxing a benzo are two different animals.
Right.
Right? So it's going to take longer. But now the insurance companies are saying, oh no, we're going down to an average of 17 to 21 days instead of even 28 days.
Not enough time, man.
Right? And you said it earlier about the money. When you talk about the Medi-Cal side, the Medicaid side, there are not enough beds in this country, in any county in the United States. There are none. There's plenty of outpatient programs, but you do not put a practicing addict into an outpatient program. It doesn't work. Okay. Simply said, it does not effing work. So again, we always use the city of San Francisco, $569 million annual budget for substance use and mental health, 57 beds.
Where's 28,000 practicing addicts?
There it is. Where's the money going? Okay. We're not doing anything to help this issue. Now, if somebody really wants to get me going, start talking to me about methadone and Suboxone, okay? And then I'm going to go through the ceiling. Okay?
I love you. It was only a matter of time. And
See, I told you.
I said something and it was bing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have that.
You know what? But you know what? You've been in this long enough. You've helped so many people, obviously, and you know yourself. I mean, you're very passionate. And all of us are. It's not like we don't care. I mean, it's like if we could just help one person, but we know one person isn't enough. We know our industry. Right. You'll never run out of clients.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And that's really sad. Okay. I mean, that's really sad. But look, 30 days isn't enough. But the main thing that we have to do is we have to come to terms with the fact that there are different parts of addiction. Okay. The first one is instead of me worrying about what to give the person so they could get off what they're addicted to, you know, help them get off of that, and then you can wean them off the
Yes.
medication, right?
Yes.
Because the whole goal is not to get them addicted to the replacement, it's to get them free of everything, okay? But the second part of addiction, the second part of the recovery is the embracing it of a lifestyle like you and I have, like all of us have, right? And when you look at it like a lifestyle, here's another thing. 10 people that are clean and sober for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. Congratulations, more power to you. That's longer than me for sure. But that's when a lot of people have the tendency to feel like they're relaxed,
Yep.
and a lot of them slip. And so I'll explain the technology in a second, but it's almost similar to like, having a map, navigation in your car, and you're crossing, a red light, and it says red light camera ahead, and you're just like, I'm not speeding, but you look at your speedometer.
Sure.
It's reminding you, I know you're not speeding, but just in case you were speeding, look at your speedometer. We all need those reminders. And if recovery is a lifestyle, we're going to need constant reminders throughout our life. Because, you know, look, you've been clean and sober long enough, right? I could tempt you with a bottle of pills. I can wave a bottle in front of your face of booze, and it's not going to phase you. But
Right.
what might happen, though, what the thing that we may fall victim to is a series of unfortunate events, little things, little subliminal things that add on and compound. And then next thing you know, you're just like, boom, it can happen just like that. Are you prepared? Right? Are you exercising your brain and your mind, body, spirit every day? Because it doesn't take much. Okay. You could lose your job. You can destroy your marriage. You can have the death of a loved one, or a friend, a parent, a son or daughter. I mean, any one of those can be an immediate trigger,
Sure.
and you got to be ready. You got to
No
be ready. You
question.
can't teach those things in 30 days, brother.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can barely get somebody off the drug in 30 days.
Yeah.
No.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, please call PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, at 559-579-1551, or visit us online at painnonprofit.org. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Pain Nonprofit. And please subscribe to the Don't Hide the Scars podcast and share with others wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. And if you would like to donate to PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, please click the link in the description to make your tax-deductible donation today and help us save more lives gripped by addiction.
And that's what we do. I mean, we use Suboxone in our treatment center. I think it's a wonderful drug for detoxing somebody, right? But we start titrating it down almost immediately. We don't want them. And here's the message we're sending with long-term harm reduction. The message we're sending to the addict is, you just can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay. You just don't have it in you. So we're going to take care of you, and we're going to leave you on this forever. Look, my friend, it took me 2 years to get off methadone. One of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this shit is because I did it all. Okay. And I finally walked into the methadone clinic. I took it down. I think it was 0.5 milligram a week. All right. And it took me 2 years. And I walked into that methadone clinic, and I literally said, you can take this box, you can take this lock box that I have to bring in every fucking, okay, you can stick it up your ass. I said, and try collecting the $350 from me for the next month. Okay. And I turned around and walked out.
I love you, because I went through a horror story myself. I mean, I went through, as soon as I got a treatment, I was undergoing MAT. Okay. And, this was right in the middle of a COVID lockdown, by the way.
Right.
Okay. For extra fun.
Extra
like
fun.
I need,
Jesus.
like I needed it. So I was isolated. I was alone. And, I just 8 months into my sobriety, I mean, I'm feeling like the isolation is killing me. I wanted to drink. I'm so bad. I mean, it's like I just quit, and I couldn't understand. I shouldn't be feeling this way.
Right.
I'm calling my counselor, I'm calling my psychiatrist, whatever, and all they wanted to do, oh, you got baseline anxiety, so we're going to give you something, but it won't work for 2 months.
Right.
We're going to give you something else for your depression, but it won't start working for maybe a month. But we're going to give you something that works right away for your anxiety, but don't take it because it's addictive. And I'm just like, my head's spinning.
Right.
And look, before long, I was just like, yeah, I mean, I had 8 different medications that I was taking. I was clean and sober, but I was a freaking zombie. I didn't want to get out of bed, didn't want to shower, didn't want to talk to anybody, didn't want to do anything.
Right.
And I threw my pills out. I'm like, I would rather use and drink than just go through this. I mean, if this is living, I'd rather be dead. Seriously.
No, I believe you.
All they wanted to do was up my dose and wait and see, almost like I'm a lab rat and they're poking and prodding and that is the taste that I have of Matt. I mean, I'm not a big fan, believe me.
Right,
And this is Dino speaking. I'm not speaking on behalf of the company I represent, but the reason I got involved with the company was just because of my bad experience, because this changes Matt.
Right.
It changes.
And I want to talk about that, but you said something that is unbelievably important, and I don't even know if you realize what you said. You said 8 months into your sobriety, you started feeling like this.
Yep.
This is kind of a proven fact, all right? 6 months to 8 months, whether it's opioids, whether it's alcohol, whether it's benzos, I can't, and the name now is escaping me, but after that amount of time, we actually, not everybody, but some of us can actually go through another brief withdrawal symptom. And nobody talks about that very often.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that 6 months and after, and all of a sudden we're feeling like crap. Okay. It's, you know, our stomach's upset, our head's not right. We're feeling dizzy. We're feeling a little lightheaded, Those are the withdrawal symptoms coming back again. Right. And that's when these doctors, because they don't understand us. They don't get it. Right. And again, they just wanted to just medicate the hell out of you in that instead of somebody going, hey, Dino, it's okay. This is going to go, this is going to go away here. All right. Let's talk about some breathing exercises. Let's talk about, you know, I don't know, talking to somebody, playing golf for Christ's sake. I don't care. Okay. But there's other ways to handle it than just sitting and going. Now, so I don't get in too much trouble, I got to say this. If there's somebody out there that because of mental health reasons, they need to take a mental health drug, that's fine. Okay. That's fine. I'm not saying no, everybody shouldn't take anything. That's not what I'm saying. Because there are people with severe cases of anxiety, severe cases of depression, all of it. So it's like, but let's look at the reality here first before somebody just goes, here's another script for you to take.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the lack of the individualization that needs to happen on case per case basis. It's the blanketing, you know, I'm 6'2", 6'3", depending on what convenience store I'm walking out of. I was a guy that I could easily drink 30 beers in about 4 or 5 hours, no problem by the end of my run. It's like, you're going to handle me different than the kid that's been out smoking and snorting fentanyl.
Yep.
Yeah, no, you're right. And you know, to add insult to injury, you know what the health professional was telling me when I was saying it's 8 months. I mean, you know, when was the last time you used? When was the last time you drank? Do you feel suicidal? Do you feel like harming any? I'm like, dude, I don't. I just want something and I want it now. She's like, well, you shouldn't be feeling like this.
Well, she should have said, if my grandmother had balls, she'd be my grandfather. Okay. I mean, it's like...
but I'm like, but I do. You know, in fairness, I wasn't a very pleasant person, but again, I mean, we're not pleasant people. Like I said, I mean, when we want to get high, when we want to get drunk, we want it now. When we want to quit, we want it now. I mean, it's not a joke. When I say I'm done, I'm done. And it's going to be a lot of hard work. So, I mean, I just wish that I could have found the words to articulate better, you know, how I was feeling. But all they were telling me is pick a feelings chart, pick a smiley face. How do you feel? And I kept saying, I don't know. You know?
It's like going to the
Frustrating.
emergency room. I used to love this, right? Because I was a doctor shopper. You got to remember, I was using during the 80s and 90s. Okay, so I had 14 different doctors' offices going on. I'd go into emergency rooms. I had every disease known to mankind and every broken bone. And I mean, I used to bend my knee up against a wall just so it would pop, so I could go into the emergency room to get pain pills.
Wow.
And so I'd walk into these emergency rooms, and it's like I would, like you said, when I want the drug, I want it now. Okay, I'm going to go to any length to do that. I'm going to lie. I'm going to cheat. I'm going to steal my way in. Okay, and by the way, I did. All right. It's oh God, it's such a show. And so when I try to explain to people, when I did that for 20 years, how do you expect me to change in any way, shape, or form, even in a year, even in 2 years? Okay. It's damn near impossible. You know, you said something again earlier, relapse rates in the United States, recovery rates are recovery rates are 7%. That's it.
I know.
So there's a couple of things in this whole recovery. That's one of them. It's a 7%. So you have to ask yourself, what are we doing wrong? Okay. The second question, or the second point, is this: we have more fentanyl coming across that border than ever before. But now everybody's talking about overdose deaths are down in the United States. They're up in California. But a couple of things. We're not talking about the people that have gone into the emergency rooms on an overdose and survived. Where are they at this particular point? And if we've got so much fentanyl coming across our border, it's about supply and demand. If we didn't have the demand, there wouldn't be the supply.
Correct.
So addiction rates are still through the roof.
Correct. And so, you know, at first glance, an outsider looking in would be like, well, we got to stop the cartels. We got to stop China. We got to stop the flow. But then you got to look at it this way, just like you said, you know, you've been in recovery long enough where you could sit in a household and if somebody's drinking, it wouldn't faze you. Okay, use that example. If I'm not fazed by fentanyl or any street drug or alcohol, the demand is zero, right?
Correct.
We got to focus more on the users than the suppliers, because if there's no user, the supply chain dies.
It does eventually, right?
Eventually.
But what this whole fentanyl mess has created, though, is just what I said a little bit earlier. We've got China that's got a huge bug up their ass, okay, about us and about everybody else. And they didn't forget what happened to them back then. And here's something to think about. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, none of that shit, okay? But I'm surprised we haven't seen it in a water supply yet. Because if they want to destroy us, they're going to figure out a way how to put it in something where we don't even know where it is. Now, to your point, we better walk to the president of Mexico and say, hey, brother, okay, you're either going to let us come in and help you, or we're coming in alone and we're going to take them out. And that means there's collateral damage. That means other people in your country are going to suffer because of it. But we have to protect our country right now. This goes deeper than just cartels getting somebody high. There's a master plan behind this thing. Okay?
It's intentional.
It's intentional. We all know it is.
Yeah.
You know? Anyway, that's my political speech for the day.
No, and it's funny because you and I talking about this, I mean, it is intentional. It's intentional, like murder. Okay.
Yeah.
And people will go so far as to say it's an epidemic, it's a crisis, which it is, but it is intentional. People are trying to kill us. I don't know how else to say it. Okay.
Right.
These aren't drugs that you just like take to pass the time. I mean, have you ever seen somebody who's on fentanyl, who's addicted to fentanyl? I mean, they turn gray. They'll stop breathing. It's like a zombie show. I don't know if people have seen that.
Oh, no, no, no. There's actually there's a fentanyl combination out there that they call it gray death.
Yeah,
That's the name of the combination of these drugs together. They call it gray death. I mean, these people actually turn gray. You know,
they do.
it's just unbelievable. But let me ask you this, because one of the things is, by the way, I'm loving this conversation right now with you. Okay,
Me too.
this is unbelievable. Um, when you're look, as speakers, as people, all of us, as people wanting to get out there to get this more of this story out there than just what is going on. Do you find that people are allowing you to do that?
That's a really good question. So if I'm speaking just to you guys, look, it's very, very difficult. I keep telling people that when you're speaking, when you're presenting something, I know that you want only the best intentions. And so you want to just throw everything you can into one sermon and hope that they get it. Okay. Throw everything you can into one social post and hope they get it. But life, speaking, is a lot like a storyboard on television. You got to give people doses, not because they're stupid, but because we've been in it long enough. And, I still say I really don't know anything, but I know more than the average person. And
Sure.
plus, I've lived it. You've lived it. You've lived it. We got to give them doses of the message so that they can comprehend it. And that's the sad reality, right? I mean, I would love to go on stage and in an hour cure cancer, but you can't. You got to give them the doses so that they can comprehend and understand and they follow this story with you. Okay. And so a lot of the things that I would love to see that actually I'm going to be showing people is not just people going in, okay, to recovery, but people coming out and people talking about it afterwards and just showing the process. I mean, if we wait to educate the government, if our knowledge is a 9 right now, the government's is like a 0.2. If we're waiting for them to catch up, to pass laws and regulation and things like that, I mean, good luck. I mean, what we have to do is like a band of brothers is combine all our talents and efforts and come up with our own plan of action, come out with our own storyboard, come out with our own group that's doing all the right things, or at least the next right thing. Okay. You have a treatment center. I have technology that's life changing and revolutionary. We got dynamic speakers. We have, as example, the interventionist, Mike Diamond. These is just, but imagine all of us and multiply that by 1,000 just in this country. And they're all doing the same thing. You know what I mean? We're getting them getting them to want to get clean and want a better life. We're getting them in the top-notch facility. We're using great revolutionary technology. And when they come out, they're listening to feel-good, positive messages and hope. Recovery's about hope. And it's great that we get these things that talk about sober. Who's sober today? It's more than just sober.
It is.
Okay. It's a lifestyle. We need to start promoting this as a lifestyle, just the same way they promoted water, bottled water as a lifestyle. I mean, Christ, they promote Pepsi Cola or Diet Coke as a lifestyle. You see people having fun on the beach. You're like, wow, I want to have fun on the beach. Maybe
Right.
I need a Diet Coke. Why am I gravitating to those? It's marketing.
Right.
And I hate to cheapen the message, but
No,
we
you're
need
right.
to do a better job marketing, especially to the youth that gets tuned out by academics and too
Yep.
many bullet points and too much death and destruction. The attention span of an average TikTok watcher and Instagram watcher is like 3 seconds, dude.
Right.
How can you get your brain, all your knowledge to somebody and you're just given 3 seconds? It's not fair, but that's where we're at.
You know, Dino, and I'm going to jump in here because as you were talking, I was writing something down here. All right. And this is something again that I've been, and Jason knows this, been looking to do for a long, long time. I love the storyboard. Okay. But here's what we need. And you said it. And I wrote down some names here. You're one, Jason's one, I'm one, Mike Diamond's one. I got a couple other names on here. Total of 6. Okay. What would happen if there was a traveling panel of experts on this that covered all different areas, but we need somebody, a corporation or something that is going to be able to go, okay, boys, we got your back. Okay. Go get them. Go get them. Because you know as well as I, major corporations, HRs, they need speakers. They want people coming in. But I don't see, I've been around a long time. I don't see this. And here's been my big bitch around the Fresno area for all these years. Everybody is separate. Nobody wants to join forces. Oh, you're going to take my client, or I'm going to take yours, or blah, blah, blah. You know what? Go screw yourself. Okay. This goes beyond us. All right. But it's also getting the right faces, the right people, the right message out there. That's no bullshit. Okay. Absolutely no bullshit whatsoever. And I got a list of 6 guys here with absolutely no bullshit. Okay. I mean,
you know, I love that you're right.
How cool would that be?
You know how you made me feel so good. I'm like speaking and he's writing down stuff. You know, I feel important for once.
You are important.
No, but you hit it right on the head. I mean, look, this is what you give out comes back to you so it's so like 1,000 times back to you. Okay. And so this is the thing that our community hasn't really figured out yet. And hopefully they'll start figuring out. Maybe we're the ones that could change it. It's like we could do more good together than separate. Yeah, we collaborate, we do this and that. But I mean, you know, I'm good at certain things. You're good at certain things. Somebody gravitates better to you than me, or in different settings. You got to be kind of a chameleon, right?
Yes.
Not everybody's going to like a face. That's why they have different spokespeople. That's why they have different commercials. That's why McDonald's still advertises. You'd think after all these years, people know, like, I know where the burgers are. Why do they advertise every day? Because people forget.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Don't gravitate to the same message long. They got a short attention span. So if we cater to this new world, okay, this gloss over, techie, short attention span world, and we cater to present ourselves to that market, we're going to grab their attention. Now, when we grab their attention, we better have something to say.
Solutions.
1. And 2, we better have a treatment center that's stellar, and we better have a recovery plan that's stellar. And we can't do sound bites for the crowds. I mean, we really got to want to help these people now and in the future.
Of course. And by the way, there's not a person on this 6-man list that doesn't have a treatment center at our beck and call, and good ones. Correct. There's not one. There's like I said, there's 6 of us. I've got one. You've got one. Tim's got one. Mike Diamond's got one. Jason's got one. Dan's got one. Everybody's got one. Okay. Yep. I mean, because that's at least one, if not more. Okay?
And now here's the thing. So now we have one. If we just took this little look, we may be doing a breakthrough right here on your show. This is pretty cool. I love this. But just imagine our little circle, the 6, right? And those results, that's what we present to our local governments. That's what we present to a journal of medicine. That's what we present to the public. Actions speak louder than words. The results speak for themselves. And by the way, I know everybody's got the privacy laws and everything, and I respect that completely. But you know what? Just the funny thing with people in recovery, they can't wait to talk about their recovery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, and that's the beautiful thing about, well, you know, you better not, because the guy wants to talk. right? And they could talk about their experience. They could talk about why this worked and why this doesn't. Okay.
Correct.
I am so with you, because if Matt is the gold standard of recovery for the last 40 years, God help us all. I mean, seriously, we got to do better than that.
Dino, we're losing the war on recovery.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've lost the war on drugs. We cannot continue to lose the war on recovery.
Right.
I mean, think about that, right? We've got more people out there, right? That they're just not getting the proper help that is needed. And again, not everybody's right. Not everybody's going to stay clean and sober. Not everybody's going to reach it. Okay, I get it, right? And I'm not the one to sit there and say that everybody is, because they're not, right? They're not. But we can do a much better job than what we're doing. But we need, what is our motto around here?
You're stumping. What?
Tell the fucking truth.
All right.
Okay.
Like, we got a few. Which one are you going?
Right. But that's
You're like, which motto? Which motto?
I got a new motto every day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to get into how opioid is helping that, but I do have a joke real quick. How do you know when you're seeing a vegan, a CrossFitter, and a person in recovery having lunch together?
I don't know.
They'll tell you.
That's
I do CrossFit. I'm a vegan. I'm in recovery. I know, because that was me very early on. Oh, no. I'm in recovery. It's like, oh, goodness. Okay.
That's true. That is true.
If you want to catch the full comedy show, he does Vegas, folks.
Hey-o.
That's right.
I'm your sober comedian this evening. I got a really bad dirty joke, but I won't tell it right here.
There you go.
But you brought that up about, and we have to show those results. And a big part of that is data. And I mean, OpiAID's doing an amazing job of taking that next step, embracing technology and giving individualized care to someone that needs it. I mean, when we were talking, I was like, okay, explain it to me, and then I was like, wow, I'm on board. Like I told you, I want to be a test subject for this, because hey, anxiety spiked this morning, as a matter of fact. I don't know why. I would like something that will tell me and give me some data and some information to help me process and stuff.
I'm telling you, I mean, I won't go into that part, but because thank you, you did a great intro, but right here, okay, this happens to be a Samsung Galaxy 6. It's powered by OpiAID technology. What does that mean? That means that it'll take my biometric readings every 5 minutes. It's sending it to our database every 5 minutes. Our algorithm and machine learning is applied to that, and it's spit to any health professional, any clinic, any treatment center, anywhere in the world, okay? So what it'll do is it'll give the health professional real-time insights to help them personalize care about me, okay? Not about somebody else. It won't say, well, you shouldn't be feeling this way, because this technology allows us to distinguish the difference between withdrawal, anxiety, and depression. That's number one. Bam, number one. Number two, it will measure the level of withdrawal. The same way we measure your sugar with a glucometer, the same way we measure your blood alcohol with a breathalyzer. Okay? Same way. So now, take 2 pills, call me in the morning is irrelevant. Somebody coming in who's addicted to this type of drug versus this type of drug, we're going to treat them differently. Somebody who's severely suffering and going through withdrawals versus somebody that's not so bad, we're going to treat them differently. Right now, we have a tendency to treat everybody the same.
Sure.
And when you get to the phase of, well, how do you feel? Tell me, how do you feel? Pick a feelings chart, pick a smiley face. When, like me, you're incapable of articulating and finding the words to explain to your doctor, what'll happen almost always is they'll go to the default, which is the gold standard for the last 40 years, which is the historical averages, okay? What this technology does, it'll take the electronic file on a patient, the chart, okay? That's your past. It'll read the biometrics, that's your present. And then with the algorithm and machine learning, that's your future. This technology is predictive and prescriptive. I can tell how you're going to feel tomorrow based on the results today. Game changer, okay? So there's two steps to this, and I know I'm going against my own storyboard, but I'm just talking to you guys right now.
That's okay.
Like, this is a big deal. I feel it's very important, first of all, to indoctrinate this and introduce this to every treatment center, every recovery center, everywhere that we can, right? And point the finger and point to opiate powered treatment centers all over the country to people, because I get tons of people. Where do I get this technology? Who's using it? I need to go. I mean, look, it's not the answer to everything, but it's a new shiny tool in a toolbox, and the bigger the toolbox, the better the results. And I'm saying, look, that's an opiate powered facility. Go there. They're using our latest cutting edge technology. That's step one. Step two, in the future, maybe 18 months from now, 2 years from now, there's going to be a version of this that's going to be available to the public. Now, why is that important to me? Why is that important to our team? Because 70% of everything we talked about on this show today, about the people that are suffering from this disease, from these drugs, 70% of us don't even go to a doctor or a clinic or a hospital because we don't want to get arrested, because we're embarrassed, because we don't have money, because we don't have insurance, whatever the case is, right? 70% don't even make it through those doors. What happens to them? Well, they resign to go on Google or ask their friends, what do you do? These quick remedies and all these gimmicks and this nonsense. So when this is available to the public, it will be tied to a community, number one. Number two, you could link a friend or a loved one to it. Number three, you can link an ER or your health professional to it if you want. And it'll also give you warning signs. So you could be going about your day. It'll be like a Fitbit or a Whoop, okay? People count stairs every day or count steps. This is the same thing. It will become a lifestyle. And somebody could wear this with the confidence that if I'm not feeling right, let's say I wasn't getting enough water, I didn't get enough sleep, I've had a few horrible incidents and bad decisions throughout the week or whatever, this thing will vibrate first to get my attention, and it'll say, are you okay? And then it'll basically read, because this will know me better than me. It'll know that I'm on the verge of going down that slippery slope that we all, remember I said, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years sober, you have a tendency to relax and feel comfortable. And we relapse, the number one reason people relapse in long-term recovery is because they ignored or missed the signs.
Right.
And what if you didn't have that problem anymore? So I'm excited about this because literally it's going to change the way people recover. For decades, we will make history and save lives. I mean, just think about it. There's millions and millions and millions of people that need help. Yeah. So the branding of this thing, how do we do it? Thank God I'm not a doctor. Okay. I'm just a regular guy who gets this technology because I experienced a horrible thing with MAT, and I'm like, of course. Thank God my entrepreneurial background, but I've always been successful, not with academia, but talking to ordinary people and selling them ordinary products or services. This is no different, except I'm extremely passionate about it because I'm in recovery too. Sure. I'm one of them. Yeah. And so I'm presenting something that's game-changing and life-changing, and I'm presenting it to my people. And there's more of us than any, medical staff. And let's put it this way. Pharmaceutical companies don't hesitate to do commercials about AstraZeneca on my TV, your TV. Right. Why? Because they want us to go in and ask for it by name.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what am I doing? I'm educating the public on technology that exists now, and I'm sending them to places that are using our technology. I mean, this is the only way to help as many people as possible. It's not like tricking them or anything, but it's the storyboard that we're talking about. We're giving people what they need in order to help them and to understand this process. And then there's education, and there's talking shows and talking points and podcasts and all kinds of stuff that we could be doing. But we need to change our brand. We need to be a little more cool and hip, like a Diet Coke commercial, because that's what gets the attention. I mean, look at the demographics of the people that are hooked. It's not the 50, 60-year-olds, although some are, but we're done. Okay. We're like, yeah, we had a fun time in the 80s. Now we're done. But now it's our kids. There's 18-year-olds, 30-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 40-year-olds. I mean, they're the ones. That's our future. That's the future of this country.
Yep. Well, and I think there's two very incredibly valuable things too that it pulls out is, I love to talk about consciousness and these things that subconsciously happen, the anxieties, the depressions, everything else. It pulls that into consciousness, so creating our better self-awareness. And the other one I could see is come a treatment facility, and as you've educated me, Flindt, where the insurance companies want to go, oh, they don't need it. Really? Bullshit. Here's all the data.
Right.
They need to stay another 20 days.
Right.
It just creates another thing that helps arm us to actually help people.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Dino, there's some notes here that I'm going to want to talk to you about after, maybe tomorrow or the next day or whatever, but I'm going to want to give you a call.
Absolutely. Sure.
Yep.
Well, Mr. Andersen, anything else you would like to add?
This has just been great. I mean, this is, it's such a pleasure to meet you. Dino,
likewise.
Look, man, we got lots of good ideas going here. All right. And
I like to put a date on there, and we actually have the show recorded, because we may have just changed history right here with our flying team of 6. Right?
we just may have. Because look, I'm gonna be 69 here, but I'm still 18 from the neck up, brother.
There you go.
I can hang with the best of them. All right. Thank you, my friend. It's been a joy. It truly has been a joy to talk with you today. Yeah.
Thank you. Likewise, and I love what you guys are doing. Don't stop. And I actually love the passion. You get aggravated. It's enjoyable though.
Some people I pissed off a little bit, but that's okay.
You're so fired up. Well,
they'll get over it.
It's life and death. I'm sorry that I'm so concerned with life
Yeah.
and death.
Right.
Anyways,
but listen, to anybody out there listening, although it's funny and we do joke and everything like that, we're all in recovery. The recovery community is beautiful. It's tight. It's the best community you've ever met in your life. And seriously, once you cross over and you become one of us, it's a beautiful family to have for life.
Yes, it is. No question about it. No question.
Dino Miliotis, thank you so very much. For more that want to find out about Dino's book, There Is No Box, that link is in the podcast description, as well as on OpiAID if you want to find out some more information. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, please call PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, at 559-579-1551, or visit us online at painnonprofit.org. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Pain Nonprofit. And please subscribe to the Don't Hide the Scars podcast and share with others wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. And if you would like to donate to PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, please click the link in the description to make your tax-deductible donation today and help us save more lives gripped by addiction.